Hello everybody, so I am doing a Zelda tier list. As you would need to know before, obviously I have done a Zelda ranking video previously, but this time around though, I'm going to do a clear, uncut video of me doing a Zelda tier list. As you'll need to know, the ranking here is actually going to be completely different from what I've done at that video, so this is why I called this Zelda tier list 2.0, but that's the part you don't really care about, because you care about the tier list more compared to me though. But if you really do care about me, then, well, subscribe, like, whatever. I don't know why I want to pull that off, but I think we're just gonna get into this. And just so you know as well, this will definitely be all on my opinions here with the Zelda series. So if I do, so some of my choices might be a little bit more obscured, in your favor. So just kind of mind that, of course. But otherwise, any sort of maybe opinion things you want to talk about in the comments, you can do that. Just be sure that, of course, they're a little bit more courtesy, because otherwise I'll actually like heart them or something, but it would just be fun to kind of do this. But this is how I basically have the Zelda tier list set up to be like all right here on tierlist.com and adds in the way whatever. But we have, yeah, S all the way down to D tier, because no other Zelda game deserves to be on F tier unless we're counting the, well, you know, Pieces of Evil, whatever, which I'm not gonna count. We're sick with the mainline Zelda games, but that's basically, yeah, obviously it's clear to what we're getting into here, so let's just stop dilly-dallying and just get right into it. So we're obviously gonna go with release dates order just to make this simple here. And okay, right off the bat, we're gonna start off with the very first Zelda game. I'm just placing it here just to decide. So yeah, so the first Zelda game, of course, from 1986 or 1987, depending on where country it released from. But my take on this game is that it's probably my favorite NES game of all time, probably, at least for now. I honestly replayed this game like actually more than twice, even 3 times, and even 100% of the game, which 100%ing definitely doesn't take a while, so I'd rather do it like that anyways. And so, I mean, yeah, like this is just kind of impressive just to have a sort of a more open world sort of game where all of it is out there. It's not like Final Fantasy sort of setting where you have like the enemy encounters and stuff. Like, it's all real-time action. Another nice thing too, which isn't a big deal, especially if you're playing on like this future like emulator stuff with save states, of course, but even so, the ability to be able to save your game, just not lose progress anytime, is pretty awesome compared to, and it's very simple too, especially compared to like Metroid, where you have to like type down some code thing, whatever, which is sometimes can be interesting with some of the cheat codes that has, but also kind of BS at the same time for trying to do that. But I don't know, like back then was like magical times. Gamers were tougher than how gamers are today. I don't know, but yeah, this game is great. It's definitely not gonna land on S tier, just because simply the mechanics are pretty, because this game is still pretty dated. I mean, the limitations definitely makes it so it can't have like too much features compared to, say, Tears of the Kingdom, of course. And even so, the combat can even the simple combat, I mean, and stuff like that can sometimes, I wouldn't say be annoying, but just also, I want to say limited or just difficult. Well, not difficult, just, I mean, it's not like the game is super difficult unless the very end, but that's kind of my taste with The Legend of Zelda. From what I've had to say though, I'm really not gonna put it on B tier, because this will be like low A tier. I actually, like I said, I actually really like the very first Zelda game, and it may stay here for a while. I mean, I could do tier list 3.0 if I want to make this a series. Don't mind the cops, but there's the first Zelda game right there. But okay, so now for its sequel, where is Zelda 2? Oh, here's Zelda 2 Adventures of Link. So let me put it here for now. Zelda 2, it's tough for me how I want to rank it, because honestly, especially if we're not counting, I mean, I'm not worried about the CI Zelda games. I mean, when it comes to mainline Zelda games, so this is, I mean, this might be, because this could, I don't know if it's my least favorite, is what I'm saying. I mean, to say a Zelda game is my least favorite is pretty difficult to say. I mean, saying what is the worst Zelda game is almost saying, like, who's your least favorite child? And out of, yeah, your favorite child, favorite to least favorite child. Like, the Zelda series could sometimes feel that when it comes to ranking, but when I'm really comparing, though, with The Adventures of Link, I mean, sure, this game does have pretty fun level designs, as I would mention. Like, I think the platforming aesthetic is does work for a Zelda game, and sure, I guess the RPG thing is kind of an interesting element. Like, I kind of see Adventures of Link as somewhat being interesting, than more like this is the absolute black sheep of the entire mainline Zelda series, which, I mean, it totally is. It's definitely still is a very unique gameplay sort of Zelda game, but other things I will criticize about it, though, especially when we're comparing to The Legend of Zelda. I mean, this is obviously a much harder Zelda game, just because it's hard. It's probably the hardest Zelda game to play and to get used to, which mastering it is definitely a possible thing to enjoy the game, of course. But also just other things too, though. I mean, I did play the game a lot as a kid, though, and I definitely enjoyed it all the way up until Great Palace. Great Palace was just like super brutal. I surprisingly just kind of gave up on it. Yeah, like the issue I would see with maybe Adventures of Link, especially where it sometimes can get kind of, I mean, maybe for some gamers like me, could sometimes be a fatiguing experience, just kind of being like, okay, it's only gonna get way harder from here, pretty much. And the other criticize I'll have with Adventures of Link, especially compared to the first Zelda game, is that unlike The Legend of Zelda, of course, with the whole open world sort of thing and stuff, like the Adventures of Link is pretty much the most linear Zelda game, and so especially where, yeah, this is where the black sheep thing kind of hits it on this game, where you're not gonna really be able to do, like, everything like out of order you kind of want to do. I mean, even like when you get into games like Link to the Past, at least has like the side quests and all you can do. And Zelda 2, I mean, obviously the first Zelda game didn't have that too much, of course, but I feel like Zelda 2 has a little bit less than that. I can't remember, but yeah, most of it is, yeah, definitely kind of more like you go to this part of the map, point A to B, in the map, which, I mean, like I said, it could be interesting, or maybe, I mean, it could be fun, or maybe it can also just kind of be like, well, I prefer something like Tears of the Kingdom, or something. Like, you can definitely see my arguments, where I feel like, in general, Adventures of Link is probably, rather than saying it's my least favorite Zelda game, it is kind of a bit more of one of the more mixed Zelda games in particular, especially just on how I'm feeling, though. But when it comes to, well, when I want to go to this, replay the Zelda game, of course, like, probably, I don't know, I could stick it as C tier. I'll come back to Zelda 2, just kind of see, because once we get more Zelda games on the tier list, it'll probably be a little bit more easier to see what else I have to do here. Oh, sorry, I was just checking the face cam. Okay, so now for Link to the Past, I'm gonna straight up put in S tier. This, I wouldn't really say, so I made a video where I said it's Link to the Past overrated, and to that I say no, straight up no. It's just that a game companies like and critics like IGN just love to adore this game, or at least overhype it in some way. But while I'm not there for Link to the Past for the hype, like, this is still a really, really great and fun Zelda game to play. There's definitely, yeah, just nice improvements. I mean, just obvious improvements in general. Like this is definitely where a lot of people will, I mean, well, it's obviously the first modern Zelda game where everything you kind of knew, from like collecting the heart pieces and the mini games, just how things are laid out, and then just certain items and stuff are basically introduced in this game. But that's not the most important part of how I want to rank this. The most important part, however, says that, I mean, even so, like, just for being the third entry, like, it still does, like, really well for just, like, new ideas in general. Like, the Sea of the Dark World thing has definitely been like a really unique twist. I mean, not unique twist, a really unique sort of thing that you never really have in other Zelda games. I mean, sure, like there's definitely games like Twilight Princess where you have like the Hyrule and the Twilight Realm, and there's also Skyward Sword with like the Sacred Realm and whatever. But like Link to the Past, it's like you could like basically have like two worlds to kind of transition, and especially for the Super Nintendo at the time, or Super Nintendo game at the time. I mean, it's definitely a really cool idea to have, and the story is also pretty great too. With like Abraham, like like just banishes the sages away to the dark world, and once you go to the dark world yourself, you're basically trying to rescue them from there and stuff like that. And I think that's just great in general. And then I don't know, I feel like with Link to the Past, the thing is with this is that this is kind of a Zelda game where I have like honestly not that much to say. I mean, other than, well, it's just a great Zelda game. I mean, it's very well made, and I think a lot of people love to adore this game for maybe being the best Zelda game for a reason. To me, it's definitely not the case for Link to the Past to be the best Zelda game in general, and it's not overrated. Please straight up ignore that video I made, unless you're curious. But with I Link to the Past here, I like it here in S tier. I think it's definitely a Zelda game I would like to go back to, maybe here and there a little, but let's move on because there's a lot to cover, and this video is going to be really long uncut, so, let's see, kids these days with their attention span. So, where is Link's Awakening? I'm definitely just kind of overlooking some of the games. Okay, wait, where's the original Link's Awakening? Wait, is that the only Link's Awakening thing on here? Well, okay, I don't care, but Link's Awakening, okay, I know where I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna put it right here. Link's Awakening, I mean, I could almost, I mean, literally I could say for each Zelda game that this is great, but obviously that would make the video pretty boring. But Link's Awakening is definitely just, when it comes to just like the whole lore about it, is like a really strange one, definitely. I mean, it's obvious, but it's also kind of like very strange in general when it just comes to how weird it is, where, all of Poland, if I'm saying the island name right, it's basically all just a dream. You awaken the great fish, and then it basically all goes away. So pretty much something like that. This definitely kind of feels like a predecessor to like what Majora's Mask would kind of almost do a similar thing, almost, although I know the lore is a little bit different in that one, but I'll get to Majora's Mask eventually. But the idea with Link's Awakening, though, that also makes it pretty cool is that it definitely feels like I mean, yeah, it feels like, I mean, it's so unique of a Zelda game because it does feel like a fan-made Zelda game officially released almost, if I'm gonna mention the idea where it has like the Mario enemy crossovers, which actually happens pretty often, surprisingly. It's not just like some like quick cameos and whatever. It's like all like you're mostly seeing Mario enemies in like the 2D platform sections every single time. And Kirby, well, at least anti-Kirby, well, basically Kirby is also in this game as an enemy, which is pretty cool. And first off, like, yeah, like that's definitely like a great mention about Link's Awakening, just because I feel like, because it may not sound like a big deal, but no other Zelda game has done that, so maybe it should be. I don't know. Just, I don't really know. Okay, it's still working, but, oh my goodness. But other things I like to mention about Link's Awakening is just, which it could potentially be better than Link to the Past when it comes to just the idea of like, the dungeon designs. I feel like Link's Awakening definitely continue. I mean, Link's Awakening still has like pretty cool like puzzle ideas. Like, I guess like Eagle Tower stands out the most. I think that's what I'm mostly thinking of in general. And yeah, I mean, Link's Awakening is a great game. The only reason it wouldn't be put on S tier, I mean, I generally didn't like I mean, this could be a personal thing. I generally didn't like 100%ing the game. I mean, I know I played the remake version. I don't know how completely different 100%ing the original Game Boy DX version, whatever, is like, but maybe it could be similar. Well, I don't know, but I think that really shouldn't matter with how I want to rank Link's Awakening here. And I'd say I like it on A tier, at least high A tier. Just, I would, yeah, definitely recommend being able to play this game. Alright, here's the big boy. Where is the big boy? Where is he? Not Ocarina of Time 3D, but Ocarina of Time. Yeah, there we go. Now we're talking, and I need a drink of water. Just, come on. So much stuff to get through. Ocarina of Time. I'm definitely... I'm not gonna push to say that I'm ranking this because everybody else said that this Zelda game is... Well, you know, Ocarina of Time is the greatest video game of all time. I mean, like, there's definitely some senses to me where it's like, yeah, that... I mean, it does make sense with why it could be said that, but I'm also not gonna really push into the idea where it's gonna affect my opinion in Ocarina of Time in any way. However, this is definitely... I mean, especially for being the first 3D Zelda game, this turned out super awesome. This is one of the first Zelda games I played. Shoot! That's why I'm ranking this so high, because I played this as a kid, and therefore, I have some soft spot on this dumb game. But, no, in general, though, this in my kind of take, I mean, if you haven't played Ocarina of Time yet, I do recommend it. Like, sure, stuff like the controls can maybe be, like, not the, you know, the smoothest compared to, like, the more, recent Zelda games out there now. But it's still very functional, controlling-wise, though, and the level designs are still pretty... oh my goodness, the dungeon, like, the level designs and overworld designs are still, like, pretty enjoyable. Yeah, like, they're still pretty enjoyable. I mean, especially with dungeons like freaking, Forest Temple, Shadow Temple, and just, you know, it's, I mean, I don't know, it's just like, Ocarina of Time is great, and also for innovation idea, like, the whole, like, you have to admit that the whole, like, 7-year, like, the whole time-traveling thing Ocarina of Time has to offer. I mean, it's not like the time-traveling thing you would have from, like, Back to the Future or Endgame, well, or something like that exactly. But, this is still... Let me see. Like, the idea... Like, the story around it is pretty cool. Like, it makes Ocarina of Time have such an interesting lore, if that's what you're into. But even when you're not into that, I mean, I'm generally just trying to hopefully have my reasonings, like, be reasonable to, like, casual players, obviously, because if I kind of, you know, go into the idea of the lore stuff, then it's gonna be like, yeah, man, I don't care, just, should I play this game or not? And yes, you should play Ocarina of Time. I mean, I'm not sure how you would be impressed by this game or something, especially compared to games like Tears of the Kingdom, of course, but I definitely just recommend this game. But otherwise, back to me though, I don't know why I'm trying to recommend, to be honest. I mean, yeah, I mean, honestly, kind of the same reasons for Link to the Past. I mean, I just feel like Ocarina of Time's just, I guess I just see Ocarina of Time as just like a better version of Link to the Past, and especially, and still translates really well with 3D, which is great level designs and just yada yada yada. Even for things like as infamous as the Water Temple, just doesn't really bother me. But, I don't know, sometimes that can make certain parts of the game just more special, if that's kind of reason. But, I don't know, maybe my reasonings aren't that strong. I just really like the game, okay? Okay, Majora's Mask. If I can find it, here you are. I say this is a good placement here. Majora's Mask, I mean, it's probably one of my favorite Zelda games to play at least 200% it if I want to. I mean, because what makes up for less dungeons is just more side quests to play on, which, to be honest, I feel like is honestly kind of like a nice sort of like thing that actually makes Majora's Mask different in that kind of result, because, you know, you have like the Bomber's Notebook, and then you're kind of doing the quests like the Cafe's quest, which is obviously like one of the main side quests revolving around some of the events on like around other side quests in the game. Of course, it's, yeah, a great side quest in general, I think. I would think so. And yeah, Majora's Mask, I mean, obviously it's just after Ocarina of Time, like, it felt like Ocarina of Time, like, needed a sequel, just because, I mean, much like Breath of the Wild, like, there's just so much things you could continue to add on to Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask was a pretty amazing example of that. You know, you have the mask transformations where you get to be like Deku, Goron, and Zora, just for different abilities and puzzles, of course, yeah, especially despite where the items are basically the same thing as Ocarina of Time until you get into the mask section, which is, you know, pretty cool and all, especially where you get to collect all of them, get Fierce Deity. Like, that's definitely why I say Majora's Mask is my favorite 100%, Zelda game to 100%, just because the rewards are actually pretty nice, even if they're, like, pretty late game, like the Great Fairy Sword. Like, who doesn't like having, like, an awesome sword? Like, just getting an awesome, like, the best sword in the game, maybe minus Fierce Deity's Link's sword. Hey, come on, son. I'd rather have that compared to just, like, an infinite amount of rupees from collecting 100 gold Skull Satula tokens from Ocarina of Time and stuff. You see, maybe I could rank Majora's Mask higher than Ocarina of Time, but just, I like Ocarina of Time. I would honestly like to come back to Ocarina of Time more, just for maybe, reasons that are just honestly hard to tell. I don't know. Like I said, I played Majora's Mask at the same time when I played Ocarina of Time for the first time as well, though. But I guess it's also just for some facts where some of the main flaws with Majora's Mask that really do kind of hurt this is that the time management stuff, it's sometimes fun just to do sort of routing stuff with it, but it's also kind of like a little bit more of a tedious task. And Majora's Mask, like, even it, like, being unpolished, can be both a blessing and a curse sometimes. Like, saving the game can be is generally a little bit more annoying than Ocarina of Time. But yeah, but I don't know. Majora's Mask, really, like I said, all these Zelda games are, like, really unique, but it has, like, the unique feature with the whole 3-day cycle sort of thing, and so that kind of stuff is pretty nice. But I'm just gonna, yeah, just leave it with saying that Majora's Mask belongs here, of course, just so we can move on, please. Okay, next is the Oracle games. If I could find these. These I never played. If I never really played Game Boy Color games, I never played the Oracle Season and Ages games. I'm not really have too much interest in playing them. Like, there's not, like, because I feel like the Oracle series, I could be wrong, but it could also be like the Zelda games, where the first Zelda games where they're like, they've been there, done that sort of thing. Like, there's, like, sure, there's like the change seasons things, and there's the change the time sort of thing in the games, which is pretty cool, but it's also kind of like, but we kind of had that from Ocarina of Time and whatever, and I don't know, I guess maybe because they're portable Zelda games, they kind of don't really interest me that much. That just could be the case, but I don't know. Maybe I'll play them someday, and I probably should if I am gonna rank all of the Zelda series, but I'm just gonna leave them here for now, and eventually I'll just come back to them later. Okay, so Wind Waker, so not Wind Waker, I didn't play the original, we'll just go with the HD version. It should be here if it's also including the HD versions here, which I don't know, just for my case. Oh wow, it's over here. That's, well, yeah, but this is, but you know, straight up Wind Waker. Like, so, let me put it here for now. Well, just to think, Wind Waker is kind of I'm not saying it's like weird or anything, but it's just like, to me though, like, I have a hard time. I have a hard time, like, being able to. I have a hard time ranking this game because obviously a lot of people definitely praised Wind Waker, especially in the past years. I mean, of course, I know that it wasn't that favored when it was released, but nowadays it's like, oh yeah, this is like probably one of the best Zelda games. Just out of all the main Zelda games on here and such. And I definitely get that. I mean, I guess like what's hard about me with Wind Waker is that, you know, because it could be my case where I'm putting Ocarina of Time up here because I played as a kid, and then like Wind Waker HD, I basically played it when I was like in junior high or something, and then I couldn't really play the game because the stupid disc didn't work, and eventually I'm gonna do a Zelda marathon at some point. I probably should do this if I want to be a lot more legit, but if I am gonna be a lot more legit with how I want to play Wind Waker, I like this here. Because Wind Waker is, from the amount of times I played Wind Waker, I mean, I almost beat the game, but then the disc broke, and I just kind of left Wind Waker, like my ambitions to play Wind Waker in the dust from there. But I will be ambitious to be able to eventually actually get probably a new disc for Wind Waker HD, but not about me though. But right now, but Wind Waker is still, you know, has like really great. It's still a great Zelda game, pretty much. Just, like I said, just the general stuff that I could usually say. Great dungeons. I mean, I like dungeons like the Tower of the Gods. The Earth Temple is also pretty awesome as well. I also enjoy that. Wind Temple is, I guess, is generally a little bit of an underrated temple. If I'm remembering correctly, I don't know. I mean, the dungeons are straight up solid in Wind Waker, especially compared to Ocarina of Time. And I like the whole ocean, just be able to sail on the ocean. Like, they do such... Nintendo always wants to pull off their atmospheres, especially when it comes to sailing in the Wind Waker, which still makes it pretty great. And of course, they made it a little bit less tedious with the swift sail and stuff, and of course, fast traveling. Stuff like that still exists in this game just to help the process more, of course. Some may argue about fast traveling, but we'll get to that argument with Breath of the Wild, maybe. I don't know. But I'll just put Wind Waker here, though, because... yeah, it's great. I feel like if I put it below Link to the Past, I think people will be bad. I don't know. But maybe as long as I keep it on S tier, I think it's the most appropriate placements for this game. But like I said, I just generally didn't have too much when it came to Wind Waker, just because I played games like Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess, stuff like that before. So like playing Wind Waker, it was kind of like, you know, let me... I generally didn't have like too much standouts in Wind Waker. I guess kind of from that. I'm not really sure, but yeah. But I'll put Wind Waker for now. Wind Waker right there for now, and I think, probably what I've said is probably not going to be that good of a reasoning. I think I'm always going to say that because it's so hard to rank the Zelda series. Just like I said, like, what's my least favorite son? Who's my favorite... or, sorry, who's my least favorite child? Exactly. Okay, so then, let me see here. Okay, so the Four Swords games are pretty weird. Because initially I could have played Four Swords, because I had, well, you know, the Game Boy Advance emulator on one of my old phones, but I'm just gonna say I never played, and it's not like I'm gonna really be that interested in playing that. I think a lot of people would easily say that, yeah, like Four Swords, who generally cares, it's mainly a multiplayer Zelda game at this point, you know, same thing with, Four Swords Adventures. Again, I just never played it. It came out on the GameCube. I never really played any GameCube stuff just because kind of grew up with the N64 and my family could never afford a GameCube and just ended up getting a Wii instead in the future, of course. Just a little backstory of mine with what I mean when I like never played the games or whatever. But yeah, general like kind of weird reasons for honestly to talk about the Four Swords games and just not a desire to play them specifically. Okay, so after Four Swords, I think it's Minish Cap. There's Minish Cap. Minish Cap here. Do I like it? Okay, this part is gonna be kind of tough. Do I like Minish Cap more than the first Zelda game? Or... okay, well... maybe I'll... okay, I like Minish Cap more than the first Zelda game. Just, I guess for like modern sort of reasons. Minish Cap is still... I mean, hey, it's still a great game. I like the whole, like, shrinking mechanic in the game. That makes some pretty fun levels and dungeons in the series. Like, honestly, like, Minish Cap does have, like, just very, yeah, solid, like, dungeon designs and stuff. Obviously, Capcom was basically behind the making of Minish Cap compared to, like, Nintendo for the most part in this series. And so it could generally bring different ideas, which I feel like that's why I really like Minish Cap, is just because of that. It does, much similar to Link's Awakening, it kind of becomes a little bit more unique in the sense where you're kind of holding it to different people who are great at making games, like, I mean, games in the past, like Street Fighters and Mega Man, of course. And yeah, I guess, like, to criticize Minish Cap, I mean, it's kind of hard for me to think of any. I mean, it's been like a hot minute since I've played Minish Cap, to be honest. Like I said, I feel like eventually I gotta push myself to do some Zelda marathon and then just actually do a tier list off of this. Do you want me to do that? Just freaking let me know. Somebody say that. But I'm not gonna persuade you. But hey, yeah, we'll put Minish Cap here simply. It's, like I said, it's great and stuff like, and I remember the Gust Jar. And that's all I can mention. I mean, or at least the last thing I'll mention, sorry. Okay, Twilight Princess. So, I feel like for some people this may be a hot take where I might put Twilight Princess. I mean, I have it ranked like this on my Zelda ranking video, of course. I really like Twilight Princess. Would I play it over Majora's Mask, though? Just thinking about it, it's kind of... I mean, let's see. Twilight Princess is quite a long Zelda game compared to Majora's Mask. I'm playing Tears of the Kingdom, dude. I mean, okay, I shouldn't let that get in the way, though. Well, yeah, I'll still prefer Majora's Mask, though, just for, like I said, 100%ing reasons, but... Twilight Princess doesn't get... I'm not gonna rank it as high just because of 100%ing, of course, but like, Twilight Princess was... I think Twilight Princess was generally the Zelda game that honestly made me love Zelda, or at least truly made me a Zelda fan, I want to say. I mean, obviously I was getting into... I mean, obviously I played games like Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time, and Skyward Sword, but like, when I actually came across Twilight Princess, I mean, okay, so here's the thing that the reason why I would probably rank Wind Waker a little bit lower than Twilight Princess. It probably could be just because, Twilight, oh my goodness, I can't say this right. I'll leave Wind Waker alone. How's that? I think that'll make everybody feel better, and we can focus on Twilight Princess. But like with Twilight Princess, just the execution this game had when it came to its darker setting was just... it felt awesome to play this game. I mean, like, when it came to the characteristics you had from Link in this game was... and, I mean, I don't know, like, I guess I could generally say that Link from Twilight Princess is probably my favorite Link in the entire series. In general, I just really feel like his personality really strikes in this game the most to me, at least for now. I mean, I've yet to play a lot of Tears of the Kingdom still. I'm definitely trying to play a lot of Tears of the Kingdom right now, just as much as I can. And I could be missing something from that, but I don't know. That's one reason for me just loving Twilight Princess, but I mean, I don't know. Especially for the time, like, Twilight Princess felt like the complete Zelda. It felt like the most, the complete Zelda game. I mean, especially for around the time. I mean, obviously, it was the biggest Zelda game, just open world wise, and I feel like, I mean, just I guess I just love especially just love Zelda in a darker atmosphere compared to Wind Waker. There we go. That can maybe make sense. I love it when a Zelda game is just a lot darker, especially compared to Majora's Mask, and Ocarina of Time even has those like dark elements when it comes to stuff like the shadow, like the Shadow Temple stuff. So there we go. That's why I probably not really care about Wind Waker, because yes, it's a beautiful, just really like I like the art in that game, but I really prefer Twilight Princess with its more maturing sort of atmosphere, just whatever. And even that atmosphere could really make certain things stand out in this game. I mean, I'm talking about like freaking Arbiter's Grounds that came out of something from The Mummy, which I've actually really recently seen The Mummy, and Arbiter's Grounds exactly reminds me of that. Like, that's how impactful like that dungeon kind of impacts to me with this game. And Twilight Princess, of course, still has crazy dungeons and stuff. I mean, they really pushed Twilight Princess, and I kind of like easily see that with how much they were really pushing with the Zelda games. Like, it didn't felt like that too much with Wind Waker to me. I mean, like I said, that could definitely, well, okay, like it felt like they were really like Twilight Princess was kind of the Zelda game to really truly push stuff with what it meant for its artistic style, its level design, and that's, I mean, innovations like that can really lead into games, especially Tears of the Kingdom and stuff. Yay, Facecam is still working. I always is happy when it is. So I'm just gonna put it right there. So stuck it, Wind Waker's fans. You can say that all you want in the comments section if you want to, but that's not gonna stop me because I'm probably gonna go to heck. Well, I'm kidding, but anyways, okay, so now kind of slowing off a little bit with Phantom Hourglass. Okay, Phantom Hourglass, generally, I definitely know it kind of gets like some of the least likes in the Zelda series, either because A, you don't really care about the game, B, Temple of the Ocean King is kind of an annoying task every time you beat a dungeon, or yeah, like, or just other reasons in general. I mean, Phantom Hourglass, like, generally, I mean, this is kind of like why most of the portable Zelda series don't really get that much praise, just because like they're not like, they can't really do like anything too big with like the limitations they specifically have. I mean, obviously until we got to, well, stuff like Link Between Worlds, that could definitely change, but like, well, I guess what I'm saying with Phantom Hourglass is that like, it's generally another Zelda game that, well, it almost exists in this day and age, to be honest. But the thing is, I will praise Phantom Hourglass for the time I actually did play it. I did, because for the time when I played Phantom Hourglass on the DS, I mean, I liked it. I mean, sure, there was stuff like Temple of the Ocean King, but I honestly, I mean, I kind of liked it like that. At least I guess I kind of liked how it was like, you know, you get the items and you can kind of progress through the dungeon, like a little bit bigger stuff. Like, sure, like maybe Temple of the Ocean King could be more polished up and such. I mean, definitely when I definitely seen like just talks about Phantom Hourglass, it does get kind of criticized, of course, or at least just to be like the least good Zelda game in the mainline Zelda series, but that's generally not gonna stop me. One thing I will criticize about Phantom Hourglass is that the music is pretty just not good. It's just looping music most of the time. This music that doesn't really stand out, and even some music that just sounds like straight up from Wind Waker almost. I think I'm maybe talking about the ocean theme, which I think it's a little bit different. I mean, I think it's okay. I think it's a little bit different than Wind Waker, but only a little bit. So, yeah. Man, should D tier even exist? Just by looking at this, because I'll decide from here, but I'll put it right there for now. And then Spirit Tracks, do I leave Spirit Tracks as C or B tier? Because okay, I never beat Phantom Hourglass. Maybe the Temple of the Ocean King theme maybe gotten a little bit more tedious at that point, late to game. But Spirit Tracks I did beat. I mean, Spirit Tracks is just, I just always seen this as like, I mean, just in its concept and all, just improvements compared to Phantom Hourglass. I mean, when I said that Phantom Hourglass had the looping music sort of stuff, I mean, literally that's what Phantom Hourglass is kind of filled with. Spirit Tracks doesn't really have that. Like, it generally has like a really, like, I really like the music of Spirit Tracks, just first off. I never really mentioned that with the other Zelda games, but I guess like with Phantom Hourglass, it kind of bugs me with how it doesn't have that good of a music compared to the rest of the Zelda series, just because the Zelda series in general always had like just S tier sort of music thing. Except for you, Phantom Hourglass. That's why you could suck it if Spirit Tracks is better for that reason. But, well, other reasons too. Tower of the Spirits I think is a better dungeon compared to Temple of the Ocean King in general, especially where, yeah, just a dungeon you keep going to every time you beat the game. And be sure, people still didn't like the concept exactly, and I think it was a good thing they didn't stick with it, of course. But at the same time, for what it had, like, it wasn't like that bad. Of course, the controllers I think were pretty. I think it was the controllers were like a pretty cool, innovative idea for the DS. Like, I think it was pretty nice and such. But like I said, though, I mean, of course, like I said, like Spirit Tracks. I mean, it was like, I think it was kind of the same reasons as the idea where Phantom Hourglass having a sequel would definitely probably be better for such results. Maybe you might disagree with that, but I don't know. But I'll probably put Spirit Tracks probably still in C tier, because generally this one's also kind of like there's something about the DS Zelda games that like really become a little bit less appealing to come back to sometimes. Maybe it's the graphics. I don't know. Well, no, I don't know. The DS looks terrible. It has hideous graphics, 32 bits. Like, sorry, that was a joke. Okay, anyways. Okay, Skyward Sword. I think it's the only Zelda game going to be tier. Because, Skyward Sword is, how do I say this? It's, I think, because, like I said, maybe Adventures of Link was somewhat of a mixed Zelda game. Actually, you know what? I prefer this. Because I think, to be honest, Adventures of Link being harder kind of makes me want to go back to this game to actually be able to beat it and whatever. And like I said, there's cool stuff about Adventures of Link, but I already talked about that earlier, but I changed my mind now. I think I'm back to the base idea where Phantom Hourglass or Spirit Tracks is. Well, I think that kind of makes sense for a lot of fans, so I don't really care. But Skyward Sword, though, the tough thing about Skyward Sword, so Skyward Sword, it has, I mean, the gimmick, I mean, I guess Skyward Sword is a pretty gimmicky Zelda game when it comes to the doomed motion controls. I mean, motion controls were pretty much, especially around the 2000s, was just a huge gimmick in general, thanks to the success of the Wii. Not to say it ruined Skyward Sword completely. I mean, Skyward Sword I still really liked Skyward Sword. I mean, it's especially a really well-made Zelda game compared to maybe some of the other Zelda games in general when it comes to level designs. I mean, it has really good dungeons. I mean, really straight-up awesome dungeons. I really like to mention stuff like the Ancient Cistern, Sand Ship. But then, I guess other reasons I don't like Skyward Sword actually has to deal with the idea of there is a lot of, the backtracking does get annoying with Skyward Sword. I don't know how I never played Skyward Sword HD, just because I don't care. Barely because I just didn't really care. Let's see, but the backtracking was definitely kind of an annoying thing, especially where you're basically going to like Faron again, you're going to Eldin Volcano again, you're going to a desert again. Like, I mean, they do certain things to maybe like, I mean, and the worst part is that you like go back to those areas like 3 times, and then some of the objective stuff suck. Like, I hate the tadpoles from from Faron Woods later in the game. Like, I really hated that. Like, maybe the motion controls could be a thing. Like I said, I feel like I kind of see Skyward Sword as a little bit of a gimmick. Like, trying to be, like, gimmicky with the motion controls, like, full out. I mean, coming out in 2011, like, it kind of sounds like a finale in that sort of result to, like, Wii motion controls. Well, there was the Wii U, but the Wii U didn't really use the motion control stuff, like, super often at that point. It was just mostly with the Wii, backwards compatibility stuff in general. But yeah, so honestly, like, as much as I loved Skyward Sword, especially for the time, like, just looking back on it though, like, it was definitely just an annoying Zelda game to the fact where where it's straight up motion controls for the most part. So I kind of give a bad rap to Skyward Sword. I mean, like I said, it's still a great game, like, great dungeons, like I said, and I think a good story in general as well, just for maybe not a good story. I don't know. This is a pretty mixed Zelda game, probably even more mixed than the Adventures of Link. You know what? I kind of begin, because when I look at Adventures of Link now, I'll keep it in C tier, because, like, the game could still kind of seem dated as, like, some, like, really hard NES game, maybe for some, or well, at least for me, I should say. But yeah, it's so hard to do this. Okay, I'm getting rid of D tier. I don't need D tier at all. I don't think a Zelda game deserves to be in D tier just at this point. Like, all of these Zelda games are just great in general, and I think I would, yeah, but it's just that, obviously, there's still gonna be plenty of them that'll, like, really stand out, and I think there's definitely gonna be placements like that there. Okay, base cam's still working. Good. Okay, Link Between Worlds. So I never played it because I had a 2DS and it broke. It's not the foldable one and whatever. I might, if I really am wanting to invest, I can get a proper 3DS and actually play this game. I won't stream it or capture gameplay of it or whatever, just because 3DS capture cards, I've heard, are absolutely painful to get. Because you're almost going, like, buying stuff from something a little bit sketchy now at this point. But yeah, Link Between Worlds, I definitely does look pretty appealing of a Zelda game to be able to play, where you can pick the dungeons in any order you want to. Stuff like that. Like, this is literally, Link Between Worlds is literally I want to say Link Between Worlds is a transitional sort of Zelda game where it's starting to transition into that more open world. I mean, it's just kind of the more just multiple choice open world sort of thing you would get in Breath of the Wild, but also kind of like also being still like one of the more, like, you know, Zelda games from the Link to the Past era. I'm gonna say, or Ocarina of Time era. I don't know. How do I say eras? How can I split the eras in the Zelda series? Because then there's like the Breath of the Wild era for the Zelda series, just for reasons I don't know what I'm coming up with. Anyway, but I never played it though. So yeah, that's also kind of like, well, yeah, Skyward Sword also sometimes feels like a been there, done that sort of thing. Well, I don't know. I think the placements in general make sense to me. I don't really have more reasons to say, as long as they're clear, as long as feel clear about it. Okay, now we get to the recent releases with Breath of the Wild. I'm not. It's on A tier. I'm sorry, guys, and that was a joke. I'm just joking. I'm not gonna do more jokes after that. Okay, so Breath of the Wild, this is kind of tough, dude, because with Breath of the Wild, like, I mean, obviously, I've been playing more Tears of the Kingdom and such. It's really hard with Breath of the Wild, to be honest, because now that we have Tears of the Kingdom, okay, so let me just put this here. So obviously I would actually now, so this is where I kind of wanted to redeem myself from my Zelda ranking video now, and maybe videos that I would rather say were pretty controversial, at least not in a huge sense, but just for this my opinion sense. But it's, I don't know, I love Ocarina of Time. I mean, I could also say where I love Twilight Princess, and gosh dang it, I'm really overthinking about this. There's no way you could ever rank a Zelda game. I just wanted to fix my mistake with how I ranked Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, to be honest. I mean, I guess, because here's the thing, if I put Breath of the Wild on S tier, like, that could definitely make sense for me. It's just that, it just sounds like, it feels like I'm trying to rush to put it as like, oh, it's better than Ocarina of Time and whatever. I mean, which, my goodness, I mean, this is a very personal list, and I'm definitely a lot more redeemable for really liking Breath of the Wild. In fact, let me do this ahead of time. Where's Tears of the Kingdom? There it is. There we go. Gosh, dude. I am fighting with myself because I've recently... I love Ocarina of Time. I love that darn game. But... okay, I mean, from how much I played, Tears of the Kingdom is better. I'm betraying the Zelda... well, I'm not betraying anybody. I'm just betraying those that don't want to rank Tears of the Kingdom on S tier or #1, which look, it's always gonna be okay. But when I played more, because I think the reason I didn't get into Tears of the, I mean, I really got in, so because it took me 6 months to really start to like Tears of the Kingdom, like after it released, because when Tears of the Kingdom released earlier this year, I definitely played it a bunch, but then I think after like being the 4th dungeon, eventually I started to get a little bit tired of playing it. So I guess I initially took a break from it, but I think my opinion at that time was pretty much more like, it's not like Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess, man. It's not that good old formula. And I'm just, nowadays I'm just like, shut up. And I don't know. I think, and I definitely made a video where I just talked about the idea where if Zelda fans hate Tears of the Kingdom, and I actually even commented the video where I kind of hated the video, because after I played Tears of the Kingdom, like, even more now, just to really fully appreciate it, and to even say that it's ironically probably my favorite Zelda game. I mean, Tears of the Kingdom, first off, just similar to Breath of the Wild, it just has, okay, so, but this is probably why I didn't place Breath of the Wild higher than Ocarina of Time, because I have Tears of the Kingdom. I think I'm gonna make it fair like that, because Breath of the Wild, for the time it released, it was definitely a lot of fun to be able to play the game. There was definitely, just like a really well-made overworld, stuff like that. But then we get to Tears of the Kingdom, and it just blows up that world. I mean, the thing is, like, Breath of the Wild feels like it takes a safe with things like the side quests and stuff, which I could be wrong on that. I mean, well, not really hugely, but I'm comparing to Tears of the Kingdom, because Tears of the Kingdom, with all it has to offer, just blows it out of the water. And yeah, sure, Tears of the Kingdom is like reusing stuff for Breath of the Wild, sort of, but I mean, first off, Majora's Mask did that with Ocarina of Time, same with Spirit Tracks pretty much, and stuff like that. But second off, like, how many video game sequels even do that, where they reuse the same world as stuff and then just like add even more stuff to it, rearrange it, just add even like an expanded story to the character, stuff like that. Like, that's why I'm saying. And then just from what Tears of the Kingdom had to offer, like when it comes to story, I'm not I don't know if I want to. I mean, Tears of the Kingdom kind of came out 6 months later, though, and I don't know. I mean, stuff like what the story had to offer, though. I mean, just I don't know. Maybe I didn't like Tears of the Kingdom first thing just because. I think it was just simply because, like, a lot of people were definitely like praising it and such. I mean, maybe there could be like an over like popularity sort of thing that kind of turned me off about Tears of the Kingdom. Well. Okay, no, that's not true. That's not true. Just, I don't know what. I mean, it's probably because I guess for the time, I wasn't. I mean, I don't know why I didn't like, or at least I don't know why I didn't like praise Tears of the Kingdom that much. Like, maybe I was kind of like being too pushed to try to beat the game, and eventually I just kind of got bored or something, and then like when I started to tackle on the other stuff, I kind of took a more chiller approach. Like, maybe because I'm out of the hype from Tears of the Kingdom releasing, where it feels like I have to beat the game just so I could talk about it, whatever. Like, now this kind of 6 months later and kind of like slowly died off, like maybe I can finally just kind of chill with the game again, which I probably should not have that mindset ever again for other Zelda games. But but otherwise, yeah, like everything, like basically like every Zelda game I can mention are great, but then like Tears of the Kingdom just does stuff in such an amazing manner, I think is what I want to say. So okay, is that a good reason at all? And I guess, I think, okay, hopefully I'm not missing any other Zelda games. I meand all of these other ones are basically spin-offs. There's like these Tingle games, dude. And wait, what? Zelda tabletop games? Oh, like the board games, whatever they had or something? What is... Okay, what? Anyways, so... okay, so yeah, I mean, for like my personal taste, I mean, this is like a little bit more of, I mean, it's kind of a unique rating for how I wanted to praise the games here at this point. Like, like hopefully this will be something that will like last for some time. Like, you know, maybe I could like Wind Waker than Twilight Princess, but I don't know. Like, it's always hard to rank these games just because some of these Zelda games hit a really untouchable status to me, just for like several reasons that even I can't explain. Maybe it's nostalgia, but such. But even so, on the other hand, I mean, I redeemed myself to rank Tears of the Kingdom on S tier. I mean, I'm not even trying to please anybody. Just this literally came from me playing a bunch of Tears of the Kingdom now, after playing a lot of Minecraft, where I'm like, okay, this game freaking rocks, man. I'm so excited for, well, just like continually just after Tears of the Kingdom, there's nowhere to go but up at this point. Like, it's gonna be it would be insane. I mean, I could definitely go on with how much I want to talk about these Zelda games, because it could be insane with how much of these Zelda games, like, in the future could really get into, but I'm not gonna really mention that. I can definitely save that for another video, of course, but just for ranking results, yeah, so these are Zelda games I never played in the main series. C tier, I guess I kind of pushed myself to say Phantom Hourglass is my least favorite. Doesn't mean it's terrible, which is why it's on C tier, but it's just that it wouldn't really be super that comparable up here. Spirit Track's just right above it. Just the DS Zelda games in general, there's just something about that where it's just like whatever. Zelda 2, I definitely started to become a little bit more praiseful as I began to rank this over time, just because like I just kind of feel like with I mean, I kind of already said stuff about Zelda 2, but basically I'm probably gonna try to actually play this game. I mean, just for the reason where it's probably hard, man. I mean, sometimes you just gotta brace something like that, you know? And that's kind of what's exciting sometimes, but it's not gonna be in B tier though, just because like it's also kind of a Zelda game where I really wouldn't really like replay though compared to Skyward Sword. Skyward Sword is like the only B tier Zelda game just because it was just pure for me. Like this is probably the most big Zelda game where it has really amazing stuff and game. It's just like really amazing stuff in the game, but also just like many annoying stuff that like really stood out that I just hated in this game. Oh yeah, I kind of mentioned the the imprisonment boss dude. I did not like. I especially didn't like the gameplay. I especially like at some point just looking back, I guess I was pretty frustrated over the game because of the controls. Like I thought I wasn't too worried about it or whatever, but yeah. Then A tier, I really love the first Zelda game, so it actually goes to A tier, not B tier or whatever. Minish Cap's great, Link's Awakening stuff, and then S tier, basically straight up, just the classics, the recent masterpieces. I mean, yeah, I like this placement. I mean, I like where I placed Ocarina of Time, but also where I placed Breath of the Wild. Like this kind of feels a little bit more generous, I want to say, where I'm still holding on to just the opinions I had over these sort of games in the series, but also I'm at the same time just now kind of shutting out, and also just kind of in results of saying where like you got Tears of the Kingdom, and so Breath of the Wild kind of ranks a little bit lower to me for that reason, just because like I'm gonna go back to Tears of the Kingdom more often compared to Breath of the Wild, but I will like to maybe sometimes stop by Breath of the Wild. But anyways, that's concludes the tier list. This, at least for now, this will be the last video I'll have with this list. Like I said, eventually I should do a Zelda marathon of this, just more Zelda related stuff. Gosh, I'm kind of swinging back into it now with Zelda this day and age. But anyways, yeah, just have a good day, y'all. Just like that. Just like that.